So, have you ever thought about why your high school Spanish class felt like a marathon of grammar worksheets, but today's language apps throw you right into ordering a coffee? We're about to dive into the incredible journey of how we learn a new language.
We're going to look at this from two totally different angles. First, we'll cover the outside story, how teaching itself has changed in the classroom. Then, we're going to go inside the brain to see what's actually going on when we try to pick up a new language. Let's kick things off with the classroom.
To really get a handle on where we are now, we kind of have to look back at where we've been. And trust me, the history of language teaching has been a wild ride, with some huge swings in what everyone thought was the best way to learn.
For literally centuries, learning a language was like being a detective, just analyzing old, dead texts piece by piece with the grammar translation method. Then, boom, the mid-20th century rolls around, and it's more like language boot camp. The audiolingual method had you in a lab, drilling phrases again and again and again, trying to build pure muscle memory. But by the 80s, people started to realize, hey, the goal isn't just to know a language, it's to use it. And that's when communicative language teaching came in and changed the game, focusing on, you guessed it, actually communicating with people.
And this was a massive shift. I mean, all of a sudden, the point wasn't just to ace a grammar quiz. The real goal was being able to walk into a cafe in Rome and actually order an espresso, even if your verb tenses weren't absolutely perfect. The focus totally shifted from perfection to connection. Okay, but this created a brand new problem. If the whole point is just to chat and communicate, when do you actually learn the rules? This question kicked off a huge debate in the teaching world, basically pitting two very different philosophies against each other.
All right, so in one corner, you've got focus on forms with an S at the end. Think of this as grammar surgery. You take a rule, put it on a worksheet, and practice it all by itself. But in the other corner, you have focus on form, no S. This is way more like having a coach. The main event is the conversation itself, and the teacher just gently jumps in to correct mistakes as they pop up naturally. So instead of a whole grammar lesson, it's just a little grammar moment.
Okay, so we've seen how the classroom has evolved, but let's look under the hood. What is your brain doing this whole time? Well, it turns out that no matter how you're being taught, your brain is running its own language learning software, and it follows some very specific and honestly predictable rules.
First thing you have to know about is transfer. This is basically your brain's default setting. It's trying to use the rules of your native language to make sense of the new one. For example, a French speaker learning English might say, I have 12 years, because that's how you'd say it in French. Their brain is just trying to help out by using a pattern it already knows cold, even if that pattern doesn't quite work in English.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting and a little counterintuitive. When you hear a kid learning English say something like eated or foot, that's not a step backward. It's actually a huge leap forward. It means their brain has spotted a pattern, like add ed to make things past tense, and now it's testing that rule out everywhere. They're not just mindlessly copying what they hear, they are actively building the grammar of the language from scratch. These mistakes are really the sounds of a brain hard at work.
But, sometimes a mistake can get stuck. It's on a loop. And researchers have a name for this: fossilization. It's that one stubborn error, like always saying homeworks instead of homework, that just refuses to go away, no matter how many times you hear it the right way. It's a pretty humbling reminder that some parts of a new language are just incredibly tricky to completely rewire in our brain.
So here's the big takeaway. This whole internal journey, with all its funny mistakes and aha moments, it's not random at all. It's a path. And what's amazing is that research shows that pretty much all learners, no matter what their native language is, walk through remarkably similar stages on their way to speaking fluently.
Just take the simple act of saying no. This is a classic example of that predictable path. Learners almost always start with a basic no plus a verb, right? No go. Simple. Then they figure out the word don't, but they treat it like one single chunk, one magic word they can use for everything. So they'll say, I don't go, but also he don't go. It's only later that their brain starts to analyze it and figure out the subtle difference, landing on he doesn't go. This just proves that learning a language isn't about memorizing a list of words, it's about slowly, step by step, building a complex new system in your head.
So when you put it all together, learning a new language is this incredible dance between the classroom on the outside, which has moved from rigid rules to real conversation, and your brain on the inside, which is busy building a new system from the ground up, following its own universal, creative, and predictable roadmap.
And that leaves us with a final thought, right? Knowing that those mistakes are often signs of progress, and that the learning journey is structured, not just total chaos, well, that's incredibly empowering. It completely changes how we see our own challenges and our breakthroughs, and hopefully it makes all of us a little smarter and definitely more patient as we learn.